Well, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, YouTube. This is Jeffrey Kite back again with another episode, Kites Curiosities. Did a video a few minutes ago. It didn't load up, didn't take, and couldn't save it, couldn't upload it to YouTube, so I'm gonna redo it again. So I won't be opening up no mail in this episode because I've already opened it up. So I got 3 TTMs to show y'all today. First one is Mr. Scott Simpson. Scott Simpson, he was a good golfer. He had, I think, 7 PGA Tour victories. And the biggest of which was the 1987 U.S. Open. That's the tournament in which he beat the great Tom Watson for his only major championship. Story goes that Simpson, he came in first round, he shot 1 over par, wasn't on the leaderboard. Then the next day came back and just shot 2 under to move into 8th place for the tournament. And then he went out and shot an even par the next day, and still with the overall tournament average of 1 under par, moved into 2nd place, right behind Tom Watson, who was 3 under at the time. Now going into the 4th round, Tom, he was at 2 under, and Scott Simpson was at 1 under. So Simpson 2nd place. And in that 4th round, Tom, he struggled on the front 9, and Scott Simpson struggled on the front 9 as well. Tom didn't fare as bad as Scott did. Tom was just 1 over par after 9 holes for the round, and Scott, he was 2 over for his round on the first 9 holes. Then on the back 9, that's when Scott Simpson just took control of the tournament. He hit birdies on 14, 15, and 16 of the lake course at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. That's where this tournament was played. So he birdied 14, 15, and 16. Tom hung with him for a little bit, but then he couldn't keep matching Scott Simpson. He just couldn't keep pace with him, and eventually Scott finished his round out and won the 87 U.S. Open title by 1 shot over Tom Watson. So that's a good story there for Scott Simpson. Your 1987 PGA U.S. Open tournament champion. Next, I want to talk to y'all about this guy, Marty Akins. Marty Akins, he's an attorney and a politician in the state of Texas. But before he got into all that, he was a wishbone quarterback at the University of Texas. He helped Texas win 3 Southwest Conference championships while he was at Texas, 1972, 1973, and again in 1975. And in 1975, he was named an All-American quarterback. And to this date, he is the only wishbone quarterback to ever be named an All-American in college football history. This guy was, he was amazing. Let me just tell you about his 1975 season. He had Texas playing some really good ball. They were 8-1 and ranked, I think, 7th in the nation, heading into their matchup against TCU, Texas Christian University. And in that game, he winds up tearing his ACL. And he comes out of the game. They put the backup in, and they go on and beat TCU. But they had to face Texas A&M the next week for the Southwest Conference Championship. Well, Marty tried to make a go of it, but he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't go on a badly damaged leg. And so again, the backup came in. Matchups were off, and Texas wound up losing that game to Texas A&M, and subsequently had to share the Southwest Conference Championship with them for the 1975 season. Well, 29 days later, Texas finds themselves playing in the Blue Bonnet Bowl against Colorado. Now, Marty, again, a badly damaged ACL tear, has not had surgery, is going to try to play in this game bandaged up, braced, and just, I tore my ACL, years ago playing football. And I know I sound accident prone now. I'm sitting here with this torn Achilles, but I tore my ACL playing football back in 1994. And I'm going to tell you, you can walk on that thing, but it's hard, but you can't run on it. I don't know how in the world that man was able to even function on a football field with a torn ACL, but he did. He gutted it out. It's probably the most gutsiest performance in college football history that I've read about. He only had 8 yards rushing in that game, threw 5 passes, completed 4 of them for 66 yards. And Texas winds up beating Colorado in the Blue Bonnet Bowl in 1975. Just an amazing story. Great story, great player, Mr. Marty Akins, 1975 All-American quarterback. Now we got this guy right here, Mr. Herb. Let's create some shadows so you can see that signature there. Mr. Herb Washington. He signed that in beautiful blue ink pen right there. That looks nice. This is a very iconic baseball card in that it is the only card in, I guess, the history of baseball cards, you want to call it. The only card in baseball history to have pinch runner listed as the position for a player. PR, pinch runner. There you go. Usually it's first base, outfield, maybe DH, something like that, pitcher, catcher, shortstop. But Herb was strictly a pinch runner for Charlie Finley's 1974 Oakland Athletics team. Charlie Finley at the time was kind of experimenting with some different things in baseball. He was a proponent of the DH, got the DH going in baseball, one of the people that got the DH going in baseball. And he also felt like there could be a position listed as designated runner, somebody that you could put in at the end of a game that's their sole purpose of the team, is to win the game in the latter part of the innings of a baseball game and win it for you, to maybe steal a base, get in scoring position, and win the game. Well, Herb here for the 1974 season, he played in 92 baseball games. 92 baseball games. And not one time, not one plate appearance does he have listed after playing in 92 games. It's kind of remarkable that somebody could play in 92 baseball games and not even get an at-bat, but Herb did it, and that was his role. That season, he stole 29 bases, he scored 29 runs, and he impacted several key games that the Oakland Athletics won that year and helped them win the AL West. I think they beat the Rangers by like 5 games that season. He was a sprinter in high school and in college. High school, he ran like a 9.4 100-yard dash. When he was at Michigan State, he was a 4-time All-American, held all kinds of records in the 50-yard and 60-yard dash. And he was fast. There's no doubt about it. He was fast. And people would ask his teammates, well, how do you feel about Herb being on this team? And, Reggie said, well, he's a great athlete. Talking about Reggie Jackson. Reggie said, he's a great athlete, but I don't know so much about him being a baseball player. Riley Fingers, he said, well, he sure can run. He's a great runner. And Sal Bando said, I just don't know about him being on our roster for the World Series because he might not be able to make up for any base running mistakes that he may find himself in a key matchup in the World Series. But there was one guy that stood up for him, and that was Bert Campaneris. It was. And Bert Campaneris said, he can steal a base anytime you need him to. So, he's got my vote of approval. So that's the story of Herb Washington. They kept him on that team, and he traveled with them, and he was on their World Series roster, and he got his big moment in Game 2. Sal Bando wound up. It was the top of the ninth, Game 2. A's were down 3-0 to the Dodgers. Sal Bando, he winds up getting hit by a pitch. And here comes Reggie. Reggie comes up, he doubles, and moves Sal over to third. Joe Rudy comes up. He gets a single and scores Bando from third and Reggie from second. And just like that, the A's, they done cut the lead from 3-0 to 3-2. Well, Dick Williams pulls out Joe Rudy, puts in Herb Washington, pinch run for him. Gene Tennis, he's up at the plate. He strikes out. No problem. No worries. 1 out, runner at first. Well, Angel Manuel is up at the plate. And Herb's over at first. And I'll be doggone if the Dodgers pitcher, Mike Marshall, doesn't pick him off. Picks him off at first base. And now, base is empty. 2 outs now, and Angel Manuel proceeds to strike out. And so the A's lose Game 2. And so Sal Bando, he kind of became a prophet, I guess, at that time. But no worries. Herb, he goes on to play in Games 3 and 4 of the World Series that year. And doesn't steal any bases, doesn't score any runs in either of those games. But the A's go on and win the championship, and he earns him a World Series ring. So he played in 13 more games in 1975 before Charlie Finley decided, this experiment, it's over with. We're gonna cut this experiment. We can get us a guy who can play a position also and play the outfield spot and that kind of thing. So they cut Herb, but he winds up playing 105 games for his career. No plate appearances in any of those 105 games. Has 33 stolen bases and 32 runs scored. So that's the story of Mr. Herb Washington's baseball career. So, all right, and that's it. That's all I got for today. Got Scott Simpson, 1987 U.S. Open golf champion. Marty Akins, 1975 All-American quarterback for the University of Texas. And World Series champion and the all-time greatest pinch runner, Mr. Herb Washington. All right, that's it. So y'all take care. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Until next time, y'all, take care now. Have a good one.